Welcome back to Studio F. We're on Fast Times Willy B. We were reviewing the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Take it away, Russell.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Brennan with me. Brennan, you are back for yet another throwback review. How we feeling?
Feeling good. I like this one.
So, you're turning into my 70s guy right now.
Fine with that.
You got the Godfather trilogy, one of the trilogies talked about when you're talking about the greatest. And then now we're going to jump over to the horror genre, which has now won back-to-back weeks here. So The Exorcist 173. And now 74, the Texas Chain Saw Massacre takes home the cake, voted by you guys. I texted Brennan before the vote even went out, hey, if Texas wins, you hopping on the first four movies with me, and he was down. So we're going to take it back to 1974 and review this first one, directed by iconic horror director Tobe Hooper. We've got Marilyn Burns as Sally, Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface. Those are, probably the two biggest roles in this film. But we'll start with the good. And the first thing I want to say in the good is the opening. Just the voice, and we kind of texted before this. We were like, when we were kids, we thought that this was a true story, which it's loosely based on Ed Gein or Gain. But when we were texting, I was like, there's no way that you felt the same way. Growing up, every time I heard that, I was like, oh no, this movie's so scary because it actually happened.
I think it could really happen to you because maybe he's still out there.
Yeah.
Just the way they read it. I know there's been a couple movies that have done that, but I mean, this one especially. I think I told you it was like 03 or 06.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first one I remember watching, and just having that and like that, just that voice really hit you.
Yeah. The macabre. He's just... It's such a good way to start the movie, kind of, sets the tone. The intro in general, like the opening credits too, with the camera and like the screech. It's
I love that.
We got to watch it in theaters last year for 50th anniversary, which was awesome. And hearing that with much better speakers than I have here at home. And it was pretty awesome. This movie, it starts with the van, and I love the hitchhiker pickup. It sets the tone for how just gross and greasy and sweaty this movie is. It's just Texas, man.
I just feel like they really make you feel that. I feel like you're almost sweating it out with them.
Yeah. You can feel the heat through the camera. It's weird. We get introduced to this gang, and then they're finding this old house that belongs to them and a family connection, and then people start to go their own ways. Yep. And then from there, honestly, our first two kills are probably my favorite in this movie. Just the scenes and the way they're shot. Is it Kurt? Is that his name? The first guy?
Oh.
It's something like that. I think it's Kurt.
He goes in. I know Sally, and I think it's Franklin.
Franklin's the wheelchair. Yep. I think it's Kurt, and he's checking out the house, and that's where the door slides open, and he gets hit on the head. Just the reveal of Leatherface is awesome. And then when his girlfriend goes to check it out, and you get the chase and pulled back in from the front door. I think those are two of I don't know, they're iconic, honestly. Yeah. They're both scenes I used in our 31 Nights of Halloween as clips. You have to.
Yeah, I think the big one is when he slams the door open.
Yeah.
Hits him with the head. For me, that was always like the kill,
it's the introduction.
For me, that was the most iconic.
Yeah, that was the first time Leatherface was seen on screen.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. And then from there, we get another hammer kill, and you get the opening of the freezer, and she comes out, and that's good too. And then Franklin meets his demise, which my dad was rooting for while we watched the 50th anniversary.
Just when he's sitting there screaming, not wanting to give Sally the flashlight or the keys or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, he's just really, kind of hoping he meets his end soon. Which I feel bad. I mean, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he thinks he's weighing everybody down. I think you see that when they're going through the house, their family house or whatever, not Leatherface's house, and he's just kind of like outside trying to wheel his way through, getting stuck. Everybody's upstairs. So, I mean, you feel bad for him, but then that scene comes, and it's just, for me, I kind of...
Then, from there, Sally gets caught, and we get to meet the family. And this family is gross. But I look back at this, too, and I'm like, man, thinking back if you were alive when this movie came out, you got Psycho in 1960, you had some of the Universal monsters spurred throughout the years. You got Exorcist in 1973, which was, like, really, really scary for 1973. And then a year later, you get this, and you're like, man, is there a bad horror movie going to come out? Like, obviously, there's probably ones that are, not talked about, but yeah. And then Black Christmas came out this year, too. So, you're talking about great horror movies. But this one, it's just like, it's a lot like The Exorcist. You haven't seen anything like it before. It's gross and disturbing. And, oh God, imagine being there in 1974 when this came out and you're like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
Like,
I can't imagine, like, back in that time going to the theater or something and watching this coming out. Like, obviously we went to the theater, but I just feel like it's a different time. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so new to them. Like, we've had years and years and years for us to kind of look back and watch things, and even current things. But like you said, for them, just those couple years around that time. I
mean, we were born after, like, there was saving graces in the genre of horror. Like, Scream was that movie that, like, kind of saved slashers. That was even before us. Yeah. So we weren't even born to see the birth, the rise, the fall, and the rebirth. Yeah. Like, so by the time we were born, we just had all of this in our catalog.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, obviously we got to see it in theater, but back then it had, like, I can't imagine.
Probably culture shock for sure.
I definitely think this one paved the way for a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how I feel about this movie, but I think it's just so well done. Like we said, you feel that Texas heat just sitting there. Like, I feel like they portray that well. I just think the way it's shot, the soundtrack, like you said, that screeching. Yeah. Like, for me, I love that sound. In a good way that is as bad as it might be for, like, maybe people think it's like nails on a chalkboard or something like that, which I am sensitive to that. But this one, I don't know. It's iconic for me.
It's 100% iconic. Not, like, super blood gory, but, like... The house is gross. Yes. Like, it's, there's definitely feces all over the place. There's bones. There's skeleton, like, everywhere. So, I mean, you could even say, like, it was the first step towards the gore we get today.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously we'll get into the rest of the franchise. The gore even gets amped up as the franchise goes on. So this first one, maybe not as much blood gore, but there's definitely gore to it when you're talking about what they had before this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not my favorite horror movie. I know this is, I mean, I put you on here because I know this is, like, up there for you, but every time I watch it, I still have a great time. I give it the respect it deserves. It's one of the icons.
Yeah.
And Leatherface is a gross, awesome character. The Sawyer family is gross, but awesome. And it's just always, I don't want to say good time, but it's like, it's a movie that makes you feel a way that you don't feel often, so that's why I feel like you enjoy it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel that gross. You're part of this, like, summer.
Yeah, I just feel like everything that they wanted to portray, they portrayed it phenomenally.
Yeah.
Everything, I just love it. And, like, when Sally's sitting at the dinner table and they bring the grandpa down.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got her eye tattooed on my leg.
Yeah.
So I just love it. Everything about it. That close shot of her eye. Like, you see the true trauma that she's going through. Her screaming, everything. Oh. To me, it's just so well done.
Yeah. Yeah, Marilyn Burns was great. If we want to give a shout out in the acting department. I don't really have a knock on any of the acting because I think that, the Sawyer family portrayed psychopaths very well, and I think the crew we got in the van portrayed a good group of friends that met devil on earth, hell on earth. And so I have no notes in the acting department, but definitely a shout out to Marilyn Burns, especially the ending, man. The end scene with the semi hitting the hitchhiker. And
you just see him get run over.
And then Leatherface coming out and him getting the rock thrown at his head and he cuts his own leg and the semi driver's off. The truck picks her up and he does. It's honestly, it's crazy because it's like the last 10 seconds of the movie, but it's my favorite part of the movie. Him doing his chainsaw
in the middle of the
dance
street,
while it keeps cutting to her, and she's manically crying.
Yeah.
And she's just caked in blood, and it just cuts back and forth to them, and then you got this Texas sunset behind Leatherface while he's doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just great ending.
Yeah.
To a very, very disturbing film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't ask for much more in the genre of horror.
I cannot.
Especially for 70s, man.
Yeah.
You know. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention here in the good? I know this is.
I think anything
favorites.
that I can say would be here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go on and on, but no, I think it's perfect through and through. I think it, like I said, everything they wanted to portray, they did great. Whether that's through the sound, whether that's through the cinematography, like we said, just the it's Texas. You're feeling that.
Yeah.
Whether it's the acting, like we said, Sally, I think she did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. With
the emotions of, I mean, I don't think any of us could truly imagine what that would be like in real life.
The horror and
but I think she gets, pretty close to portraying that spot on.
For sure.
But no, anything I would have to say would be here.
Love it. So we'll hop over to the meh, and I guess this will be just me.
Yep, it's
and
all you.
You can fight me. I'll you can tell me why you like if it's something that I say and you disagree with. I will start by saying this is the last section. I don't have anything in the bad. This movie is a very, very, very good movie. So things in the meh. It's an hour and 23 minutes, but it does feel a bit longer than that. So pacing at times, and I think it's weird because it's like a lot of it is paced well. There's just a couple of scenes that I would change, I guess. The family one, I think when she's in the house, I like the eye stuff, but at a point it gets to be dragging on too long. And then the other one is when they first get to the house, and there's just parts that drag on for me with Franklin specifically. And so those just make the movie feel longer. Honestly, after the first time I watched this, I didn't know the runtime. I looked it up and I was like, that was only an hour and 20 minutes. It felt like it was like an hour 45. So just due to that, I have to put the pacing in the meh. Because it does feel long. And that doesn't kill the movie for me like it does one person that watched it was on the 39th. Stu, that killed the movie for Stu. And I think he gave this a 5. It doesn't kill the movie for me by any means.
Those are fighting words. No.
But it definitely feels long.
I think I could see that, but I'm obviously biased because I love this movie. But for me, I think that just makes you feel it so much more. Like,
that's fair.
Like, I could understand what you're saying, but, me personally, like, with the Franklin stuff, I feel like I just feel like it makes you feel bad for him. Like, you're seeing more of him, his struggling. Like, obviously he was a little bit annoying at the car.
I was going to say, my other meh is Franklin gets to be a bit much
at
a point. At a certain, especially when it's in the car and they start fighting over the flashlight. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Leatherface, where the hell are you, man?
But maybe that's, like, for me. Like, you start to feel bad for him, and then you're like, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And then it makes you feel less bad when he's taken off the screen.
Which, for me, I enjoy that. Flipping kind of like a character, and then you don't, and then when it finally happens, you're like, okay. Yeah. But him getting killed also helped Sally get away. So
that's true. That's true.
I guess he had a purpose.
He was weighing her down. The only other meh I would have then outside of Franklin and the pacing is leading up to what I said is my favorite scene in the movie, which is all taking place on the street. When the hitchhiker is chasing her, I just feel like
down the driveway.
Yeah, I feel like he could have just tackled her.
I think he could have, but I think that shows you him being psychotic and like toying with her.
Yeah. Like
how goofy he is. Like, I don't know. I think anything
every
you
time
say, I could
that,
find something to kind of like, for me personally. Like, for me, I think that just shows how messed up he is. He's like, they're playing with this food, basically.
That's fair.
And
it's just every time I watch it, I almost like want to laugh.
No, I get it. I definitely get it. But yeah, to me, I guess that's how I interpret it.
Yeah. But that's really it. Like, there's not much to knock on it. It is, at the end of the day, a great movie. So we can hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, and what do you give it out of 10?
I think it's perfect. I give it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
For me, this is...
Top tier horror film for you.
For me, I think, like, I don't know if it's my favorite.
I was going to say, do you have anything ahead of this when it comes to horror, or is this number one? I don't mean to put you on the spot there. So you tend to think about it.
I think in
about the
terms
second one.
of a movie, I think this is about as perfect as it's going to get for me. So I think this is probably this is the best horror movie in my opinion.
Okay.
But maybe not my favorite.
That's fair.
If
That's fair.
If that makes any sense at
So
all.
objectively, you think it's number one. Subjectively, it might not be. Basically, when you're looking at the object of a movie, it's probably the best for you.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like, I think there might be others that I enjoyed more.
Yeah, more.
Like, I had more fun with.
Yeah.
Like, I might have had more fun with the second one.
Okay.
Than this one. But I think this one is just put together better. I think it's shot better. Like, everything about it, I think, is better.
Yeah.
I might be overstepping on had more fun with the second one. But I guess that's what I mean. Like, there's other things I might have had more fun with.
That's fair.
But I think this one, I just put together as a movie is... for me, probably perfect.
Yeah. For me, going solid number-wise, I'm going 8 out of 10. I think it's one of the greats. It's not my favorite, but I still, every time I watch it, I'm not mad that I watched it. It has a little less replay value for me than
I can see that.
a lot of other horror movies. I shouldn't say a lot of other horror movies, but, I mean, when you're talking about franchises, I know you love this movie, but there's a lot of Halloween movies I'd rather watch, probably. The Scream franchise is another one I really am into. So it's probably just bogged down by how into I am other franchises.
Yeah,
but it still deserves the respect. It's still a great movie. It still holds up today. I mean,
I think so.
51 years this year. Yeah, because we saw the 50th anniversary film. Definitely still holds up today. And yeah, like you said, when I texted you and asked if you wanted to do him and you'd have to quickly turn around, you're like, I'm never mad to rewatch this one. And that's how I feel. It's something that I might not replay a lot.
Yeah.
But when it happens, I'm in for it. So yeah, Texas Chain Saw Massacre. This is the start. We're gonna pound out the first 4 here, which are the 4 that follow the Sawyer family. And maybe someday we'll revisit this franchise and talk 0306 into the 2010s, and maybe someday the Netflix one. Maybe someday the Netflix one. At least 03 and 06 is something I'd like to maybe revisit down the road, because those ones get some pretty good rap.
I mean, I've seen this one, I mean, quite a few times, but the second one I think I've only watched once, so watching it again, I mean, it was essentially like the first time watch, because it's been so long. And then the third and fourth, I haven't
this will
either.
be my first watch on them, so.
Kind of excited. I've heard bad things.
I've heard rough, but I'm excited to see McConaughey, man. Like,
that's your fourth one?
Yeah, that's what I'm in. That's what I'm buckling in for.
Right.
So
gotta push through the third one, whether it's good or bad. Yeah.
But we'll knock out the first 4, which will take us to 95. So a little bit, 74 through 95, a little 21-year span, and then like I said, maybe down the road revisit them. But that's what we're gonna do this week. So stay tuned. That'll do it for the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Brennan, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Stay tuned. Once again, we have 2, 3, and 4 coming your way this week. Let us know what you think of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.